Hey everybody, it's Jason and Dan from Rochester Pest Pro. We're here to answer some questions for you about our rodent services today. So we're going to talk about that, and here's some questions. What do we do for residential service, rodent service? It all starts with an inspection. We follow a process called IPM, which is Integrated Pest Management. That gives us the guide to go and look to determine what it is that we need to do, find out exactly what we're dealing with, what rodent we're dealing with, and what openings need to be closed. A lot of times in a house, when you have an issue, close the openings. If they can't get in, they can't be a problem. Then we install some rodent equipment on the outside of the property. And that continues acting as the first line of defense. We correct the problem, we fix the problem, now we're maintaining the problem. And then that determines what we do and what we don't do. How much equipment we need, what openings we got to close, and more importantly, what's the frequency of your service.
We recommend 4 times a year, the quarterly service. And we come around and we continue to stay on top of that population. It's like brushing your teeth, right? You don't brush your teeth every other day or once a week. If you don't, eventually you get cavities. So it's like the same thing as a house, right? Rodents come around and you don't really pay attention to them. You start seeing holes here, you start seeing entry points there. Well, if you stay on top of it with the preventative maintenance, you give yourself a better chance to eliminate that from happening. Your home is protected, everyone's happy, and you don't have to call us to come out and focus on a bigger issue rather than a smaller issue that you can kind of keep controlled.
Rodent services are, I think, really overlooked a lot of times. I don't think a lot of people really understand rodents and what the value is of taking care of it and making sure that you do the right thing. And it's a really low cost option to come out 4 times a year. It doesn't require a lot on the homeowner's positions. The stations are designed to be rodent feeding stations. So rodents come in and they have a meal and then they leave. And then a few days later they pass away. So the meal would be the rodenticide, and the rodenticide can come in many different forms. There's a soft bait rodenticide. There's a hard block rodenticide. There's rodenticides where you can consume them by licking and drinking them. It's not designed to catch the rodents inside the stations. It's designed to give them a food source to come to and eat the rodenticide that in turn will impact them being around the area. One of the things that rodents do is it's a process called translocation, right? They essentially try to take the rodenticide or the bait or anything like that, and they try to do cache of food. So the equipment that we use is designed to keep the rodenticide in place so that way they can't take it with them. They have to consume it right then and there. It's designed to act as the first line of defense. So if you can attract the rodents to come into the station, they're less likely to come into your house after visiting the station. If you don't service the station and you don't keep a fresh food supply in there, then the rodents are never going to come there. We use both interior rodent equipment and exterior rodent equipment. Any of the exterior rodent equipment has to be anchored down or weighted down, and it needs to be a tamper-proof station, which means it needs to be locked or secured so non-target animals or people can't get into them. Our stations that we use on the exterior require a key. All our rodenticide is placed on a rod, which in turn keeps it in the station so it's contained. And that way there's no chance of secondary poisoning from that.
And if your dog was to get in there, there's an antidote for it. That's why we use that product as well.
We apply everything the safest way that we can. We follow the labels, the law in New York State, and we do what the label says. And the label says that we need to make sure that you have the right PPE on. The stations are anchored. They're a tamper-resistant station. You want to make sure that you're being as safe in everything that you can do, possibly. What's the specific challenges to Rochester in dealing with rodent control?
The area that we're in, there's a lot of bushes, trees, forests, and water sources. It's a perfect area and environment for rodents, rats, mice to live. And, us living here, being in the middle of that, it's important to stay on top of that, putting the stations around and just taking the necessary precautions to keep your home or your company safe is just important.
Daniel, you covered a lot of good information in regards to that. And if you need to reach out to us, please call us at 585-486-4815 or reach us on our social media pages. Have a good day, you guys.